If you're looking for some unique bokeh, well then, mirror lens might be what you're looking for. I've got two different mirror lenses in front of me. These are actually the same lens, just a different brand name. And the interesting bokeh comes from the design of the lens. They're catadiotric lenses that uses mirrors and lenses to create the magnification. And the aperture is actually in the center of the lens rather than it closing down and just the hole getting smaller. It's fixed aperture, fixed focal length, manual focus. So the light comes in, hits a mirror in the back of the lens, is reflected to another mirror that is right behind there, and then gets sent out an optic in the back of the lens to the camera, sensor, film plane. So here's a small Celestron telescope. You can maybe see the mirror in there. Goes out the back, and you can get adapters and stuff to mount this onto a camera if you wanted to. Gonna be difficult. 1000mm f11. If you go looking for one thing you should know is that generally most of them are T-mount lenses, which means you'll just need an adapter that screws on the back. The mounting looks a lot like an M42 mount. Get the adapter, you should be able to easily adapt it to whatever camera system you're using. Additionally, I know some third-party manufacturers are making them for M43 and maybe the Sony E-mount. And then in terms of first-party manufacturers, Nikon and Canon both made 500mm f8s. They're both probably optically the best out of any of the lenses available, but the Canon one is an FD mount, so it's going to need to be adapted to any system you're probably going to use unless you're using a film camera. And then there's the Nikon one, which is the F mount. That'll work on any Nikon camera, and you can adapt it to whatever you desire. In terms of usability, it starts to get quite interesting. This is my 200 to 500, and if I zoom it out to 500mm, you can see that there is quite a size difference to get to that. And then just looking at the difference in weight, first one, a little over 13 ounces, 372 grams. Second option, 1,285 grams, looking at 2 pounds, 13 ounces. And then the 200 to 500, if I can get it to go on there, almost 5.5 pounds. 2.5 kilograms. I mean, it is definitely a heavy lens. So that's probably the main attraction of a mirror lens. Small, compact, you still get that great reach, you get the interesting bokeh, and you don't have to put thought into carrying it around. I have a lot of lenses that weigh way more than this, don't even get close to having the reach this lens has. Whereas, you know, my 200 to 500, going for a hike with this is a chore. You're also going to need some form of stabilization just because of how much it weighs. So in addition to this, you're probably going to want at least a monopod with you. Yeah, I can hand hold it, but not for long periods of time. Getting into usability, we'll take a closer look at the two lenses. This is a Lentar. It has a tripod collar on it. You could do portrait or landscape photos easily, just spin it around. But unfortunately, I tried it handheld, I tried it with a tripod, and I did not notice any difference in image quality. So that was disappointing. It has a lot of extra weight added on for no benefit to me. So minimum focal distance of 10 feet. I found that I was getting the donut bokeh at about 30 to 60 feet away, and the background blurred out pretty nicely. Here's another one. This is the Quantaray. This one's Phoenix. Same ones. And what's interesting about this one is it's a ton lighter. Optically, I felt like I was getting similar enough results. Nothing was super great out of it, but this has a macro feature that allows it to focus much closer than the Lentar, and additionally, it's just so much lighter. This is the one I prefer out of the two. And taking off the T-mount adapter, you can see the lens in the back, and if you look down through it, should be able to see the mirror in the front of the lens. The next issue you're going to run into mirror lenses is that they have fixed apertures, These are all f8. I know some of the DX and micro four thirds lenses are 5.6, but still you're gonna need lots of light, and there's no image stabilization or anything like that. So you need to get your shutter speed up, you need lots of light, probably going to be limited to using these in bright sunlight just to get, you know, somewhat usable pictures, even then cranking the ISO up. So that's a little bit of a drawback because the surface of the lenses, I mean, it's pretty large, and I've run into lots of issues with, I don't know if you'd call it glare or flare, but you have to be very careful about what you're trying to photograph because the sun is shining anywhere near it. It's going to blow out a bunch of the image. And I haven't looked into tracking down lens hoods that would be large enough to fit this, but I imagine it's going to have to be quite a large lens hood. I'm not sure if there's anything available. And finally, these are 500mm lenses. I know there are 400s and 300s and things like that, but still, that long focal length, I found it difficult to look out into nature, find a shot that I thought would work, pull the lens up, and looked at the camera and being like, oh, I was completely off. It is significantly more magnified than I thought it was going to be. So from a getting good photos point of view, I really don't think that any of the test shots I took are that great. From a having fun using the lenses, I had a good time using them. It was interesting and really made me think about what was going on because I don't do a ton of shooting at that long focal length. And if I do, I have like autofocus and I can track things. With these manual focus, really got to think about it. So before I get into price and whether the lenses are worth owning or not, do want to let you know there are affiliate links in the description. Those go to probably eBay, Amazon. Any purchase you make through them doesn't have to be one of these lenses. I get a small cut. It helps me with the channel, but I wanted to let you know. In terms of price, I think I paid about $60 for the Lentar, $50 for one of these two, and the other one I got in a lot of lenses. I don't think that I would ever go after buying a Lentar or recommend anyone else does. It wasn't optically superior to a smaller, lighter, cheaper lens, and the size, the extra weight, I just don't see the point in having it. Not going to be fun to carry around. It's heavy enough to where you're just... I don't see the point when you can have something that you can handhold. The lighter lenses, smaller, lighter, that require a T-mount adapter, I wouldn't want to be over $65 into them with the adapter. Sometimes you can get lucky and you can find them with the adapter for fairly cheap. And at that $65 price point, somewhere in there, I would also say that if you're not willing to eventually sell the lens and get your money back, I wouldn't recommend buying it. I've had fun using it, I've enjoyed it, but it's not a lens that I want to keep forever. I'm probably going to sell these three and upgrade to the Nikon 500mm f8, which I imagine is going to be better optically. And those generally go for 110, 120 to 200 depending on condition. And a lot of the other lenses will fit into that range. Some of the micro four thirds lenses that are new, I feel like are $80, $90. I haven't used one, so I'm not sure if that is a good price or not, but it's probably all right. I mean, if you're willing to turn around and resell it after you're done playing around with it, you can't lose out too bad. And then there are some other ones in there. I think the Canon FD version is around $100-ish, so there are some options. None of them are that expensive. I would recommend them if you're looking for something interesting to do, something that you'll be excited to take out for a few times. Not sure that you'll keep them forever, so if you're not a type of person that is willing to go on eBay and sell it off or sell it off locally or something like that, when you're done with it and the novelty kind of wears out, I wouldn't buy one. So that'll do it for this video. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you learned something new about mirror lenses. Make videos on vintage photography gear, oddball stuff that I find, things that there aren't a lot of information out there on the internet. So if you'd like to see more videos like that, hit subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.